My name's KC. Sitting with Brian over here.
Yo!
This is our little car side review. We just got done watching Onward. Literally like 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago or so. Man, fantastic movie. Thursday night premiere. Since no one does Friday midnights anymore, really. It's a movie that, it's typical Pixar. Normal Pixar. It's going to pull your heartstrings. It's going to get you. But it earns the moment. In my opinion, I'll be interested to hear what you're going to say about this, Brian. My opinion, Onward did everything right. It didn't shy away from hard topics. It didn't try to pull strings. It didn't force it down your throat. It's what Pixar does. And I feel like sometimes we take it for granted. I mean, we had Coco just recently in 2017. But Pixar knocks it out of the park again. I personally loved it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I could relate to some of the characters, like the older brother, Bartley, his name was. Like, we knew, like you said, it was going to be a tearjerker because, it talked about how their father passed away, the younger brother never got to meet him, and when they started reflecting on, when Bartley started reflecting on the passing of his father, talking about him hooked up to tubes and all that, I was like, oh, no. I was like, you're going to
Careful with some of the spoilers now. Let's try not to give too much away.
Well, to be fair, we should have said spoiler alert at the start.
Now you're just going to have to put it in the title, so if you see that, just a heads up.
Yep, spoiler alert.
We'll try not to reveal too much, specifically about the end, but go on.
But, how to like put in perspective what the moral was, like, basically, let's see, the younger brother Ian, like, wanted to get to know his father, but along the way kind of realized that his older brother, who, sometimes he viewed as a dork, like, I never had a brother, I never had a sibling that I always saw as super embarrassing or someone that I just wanted to not be around at some crucial moments. But then he starts to realize that, you know what? This guy was the father figure I had all the time.
And it's, I don't think that.
Yeah.
It's, the main moral I get out of it is such a great one. Because, again, it's never really pushed down your throat until it's a movie. They have to at certain points. But it's about moving on, but moving on naturally. They don't try to stress that he shouldn't go after his father or that he shouldn't just forget his father. No, it's all natural reactions and natural instincts until you get to a point where he's 16. I think the idea is you have to transition. You have to realize, hey, you have to move on. And it's done so naturally that you believe it. The characters make you believe it. Chris Pratt does such a great role as Bartley, as the older brother. Spider-Man himself does a great job as Ian. You kind of almost you always hear Spider-Man. Just his voice has become so synonymous with that now. But Julie Louis-Dreyfus, great job as the mother. Didn't even realize she was in the movie. She's one of America's best actresses. One of the best we got. But yeah, just overall, just everything clicked. And something we haven't talked about yet, and I think is amazing, the universe they created. Like, not even telling the story, just the universe of the mythical creatures and what's happening with it, and magic versus technology, and how history shapes itself out. And just kind of the background of it that makes you believe everything that's happening in that world. A lot of movies have trouble with that. A lot of movies, and I was telling this to Brian earlier, kind of off camera here, also have trouble with making a moment and earning it. So, for example, the Sonic movie, great movie, got fantastic reviews and everything. Their kind of death scene towards the end, I feel like, wasn't quite earned. I felt it was a little forced. Like, because they were building up more towards the friend scene, where he's like, hey, listen, he's my friend. And you could do that without trying to, like, fake a death. So, in my opinion, that's a part that's kind of Onward absolutely builds towards the moment. They make very clear the moment they're building towards. I'm not going to spoil you what that moment's like. You'll see it for yourself. But, boy, when you get to that moment, Whew. It comes out. That is the tearjerker moment. They go out of their way. Pixar specialty there. They're going to try to make you cry. It was nice to see a movie that it's been so long. It kind of just builds to that epic moment and is able to give it to you. The last one I feel like I probably remember was the Avengers, the last Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, Endgame.
Mm-hmm. And then for Endgame was building that moment for like decades.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to do within one movie. Within 90 minutes. That's the crazy part. You think about it now. 90 minutes they built to that moment and they hit it.
Right.
They absolutely hit it. Anything else to add, man? Anything on your end you want to speak about?
No, I don't think so. I think you pretty much nailed it out of the park.
Yeah, this is ironic. I think this is one of the few movies we kind of like absolutely agree on in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
We got some differences in a lot of other ones. Yeah, absolutely. This is absolutely 2 thumbs up. I'd recommend to go see it. It's worth the little money you're gonna pay. If you have kids, bring your kids. I mean,
oh yeah, definitely a good family film.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing. Your kids will love it.
Oh.
I don't even think there's an age range. I think you can go from like 5 to like 16. They just kind of have everything in there for them.
Or in our case, early 30s.
Early 30s. I mean, listen, we need to move
We're
on.
all kids at heart.
That's what I got.
But I like what you also said when we were walking out of the theater. You were like, essentially, this is like D&D the movie.
It is D&D the movie.
Because, like you said, they use mythical creatures as the main cast, and it was great how they
and I won't say too much
how
about
they kind of
the specifics of why it's D&D the movie. Again, kind of want you to go
I like
see
how
it.
they also kind of how they kind of started off. You started off thinking like this is going to be like another like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter type movie because
it seemed more. They definitely started it with like a high school drama vibe, where there was going to be some, but they hold off on a lot of that. Like you start expecting like, okay, there's going to be some drama here, there's going to be a beat there, and they hold it off and show a lot of restraint. They let you enjoy the ride. They let you enjoy the movie without trying to like shove some of those serious, oh man, there's a misunderstanding, or there's on the hero's journey, they hold them off so when they need them. Otherwise, they let you enjoy the ride.
Oh, not to jump in on you, but it's also a great movie to introduce kids on how to build confidence, how to speak up more, how to be more than what you can be. Like, hell, every kid goes through that phase, when they reach their teen years and stuff. It's like, Ian learned to be more than what he could be. They, helped the Manticore reintroduce a side of herself that she had forgotten.
Yep.
And essentially, I thought that's what Onward was going to be. Because it seemed like, in the prequels, yeah. Wait for the prequel to Onward.
Oh, God.
The Downward.
There's something I know we were talking about, we both agreed with. Really hope this movie is a standalone. I don't think it needs a sequel.
It does not need a sequel. This is a movie that does not need a sequel.
Absolutely.
It's good on its own. But as we were saying, I thought it was just going to be like meshing technology with magic. Well, essentially, it kind of does. But it starts off talking about, spoiler alert, how, and we can all relate to this in some way in real life, not just if magic ever existed, but how technology has taken over and just made all
sometimes we've forgotten our past in many ways.
Exactly, we've taken a lot of things for granted
and kind of forgotten the lessons sometimes that come with it.
Yep. And this movie kind of does a good reintroduction of bringing back some past elements and being able to mix them in with the current timeline.
And that's one of the key things I also agree with on you there, that it doesn't go out of its way to say technology's bad. It's not trying to say, hey, listen, the world we live in now is evil, we need to go back to what it doesn't do that. It very much explains there's nothing wrong with the world we live in now. We just also shouldn't forget about what has come before us.
Right.
And just because we found a new way doesn't mean we should just throw the old away. So in many ways, yes, technology can replace certain things, but it doesn't mean we should just throw the old part away. The old stuff has its own story. The old stuff tells us how we got there. In many ways, we need it to remind us of what's going on. Again, in a kind of, I wouldn't even say subtle. I mean, it's kind of the point of the movie, but it doesn't really shove it. You're so focused on the story itself. I don't think you pick it up until the very end, where they're going out of their way. They make even jokes about it and everything.
So
you might even see it in some like commercials. It's gonna be funny to see. But
so after the movie, how many kids are going to go into the park or nearby woods and just pick up a long branch and pretend it's a magic staff?
well, we are entering summer, probably a lot. I mean, listen, they're kids. Kids go to the park anyway. They pick up a wooden stick and it's a sword. It's
Right.
the whole point of that's kind of the fun of being a kid. It would just be more fuel for kids to have fun. I mean, absolutely talk about a good kind of 4 weeks for kids movies between Sonic and Onward.
Right?
Man, they kind of nailed them both. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. We'll wrap it up with, like, what was your favorite scene of the whole film?
Oh, my favorite scene of the film. That's a... I am a sucker for the ending. And I can't describe it too well without spoiling anything, and I don't want to do that. But not just the moment itself, and we already talked about how they built to that moment, but how they executed it. How, in the very end, there's kind of a little twist, as it was, but you don't feel mad, you don't feel shocked. It feels very much earned. It kind of pulls at your heartstrings, and it settles so much in so little time that I'm sitting there. I cried a little bit. It didn't boil or anything, but you kind of had the tears coming down.
It almost got me, but like I said, the scene that made me choke almost was, where he started talking about when he watched his...
What's your favorite scene?
Well, I don't know if I want to say that was my favorite scene where he described his seeing his dad pass, because I've been there, so I didn't need to relive that again, but I'm just going to say probably maybe my funniest scene of the whole movie was the one where the mother and the manticorn go to retrieve the manticorn sword called the Curse Crusher from a pawn shop. And what exactly was the pawnbroker supposed to be? Like some kind of serpent type creature?
Yeah, reptile. It's like it's just a snake woman.
And she's trying to like con them out of more money. Just out of nowhere, you just see the manticorn scorpion tail go. At first, we were like, "Holy shit!
That was
did she kill her?"
Yeah, we were. That was the D&D moment of the movie. That was very much the D&D where your game master is just like, you have to get this sword. Oh, they want all this money, and the one person who's totally done, your one player is like, you know what? I attack. Excuse me? Yeah, no, I attack. I know we can get the money somehow. No, I attack. I know you wanted us to trade items. We're not doing that. I'm just gonna attack her. So that was a great one.
So yeah. Got nothing better to do with the kids this weekend. Take them out, see Onwards. 2 thumbs up, 5 stars.
Absolutely. I don't know about 5 stars, but I'll stick with 2 thumbs up.
4.5. 4 3/4.
It's kind of hard. Listen, we just came out of the movie theater. I can say 2 thumbs up confidently. I don't want to. I feel like when you do stars, you have to be a little more specific about the movie.
2 thumbs up and a 4 peace sign.
All right, guys. You have a good night. Enjoy your weekend.